Okay, hello everyone. I assume that you're all excellent.
Yes, so we assume you're excellent, Adelere.
Yes, I am. Thank you. And thank you for waiting
Hello. Mhm.
and for the patience. Okay, jokes. So, uh, who recalls the story that we started with 2 days ago? When we started talking about the core thing that can make a person feel burdened, and which, of course, to be unburdened is about getting rid of that. Well, not particularly trying to get rid of it, but redeeming it. It's the key sense is redeeming, which means to convert it back into the right or appropriate way. That's what it is. But who remembers that story? There's a story attached to that lesson. Superman and Lana. Thank you, Scott. That's awesome. Brilliant. Superman and Lana. Okay. Now, what did I say was the way by which Superman actually began to have the sense of freeing himself? There was something I mentioned the deed. I didn't dwell on it 2 days ago, but that's actually what our lesson is coming from today. But if anyone remembers, I mentioned it in the previous class that there's something he did or there's something that happened to him that then became the foundation for him to, well, free himself from guilt. Anyone who has an idea? Oh, he had to fight the guy and overcome the weight of guilty he had. Not exactly. Okay. His fight with the guy was no, not exactly. He had the strength to fight the guy because he already experienced this and freed himself from guilt. If he actually still had the same guilt and kept thinking himself, he had so much, Superman is like super powerful. He actually always held back. Even in the comics, he always held back. But the primary reason he was holding back for the first part of his life was not because he didn't want to hurt people, but because he actually believed he hurts them, right? He believed his presence hurts them. He felt guilty for who he was, for what he was. Imagine as extraordinary as you are right now and you're feeling guilty for being extraordinary, feeling guilty for being yourself, feeling guilty for wanting the things that you wanted, feeling guilty for liking the things that you liked, feeling guilty for thinking the way that you thought. But that, well, that was Superman. But what freedom from the guilt was at a point in time, an accident happened to him. It was actually an accident. And in the accident, he traveled into the future. So when he went into the future, he saw who he became at the end of the day. Like regardless of all the challenges he had faced and regardless of all the threats that was ahead and impending, he saw who he became at the end of the day. He became the happiest man alive because he got the woman of his dreams, who was not Lana Lang, but Lois Lane. Okay. Really beautiful woman. And he really loved her. Okay. And at the same time, he got the job of his dreams. And finally, nobody had to know his secret. Like everyone who knew his secret were all safe. So he became the person he wanted. He's always wanted to be. The basic catastrophic threats or the things that were like trying to destroy the world didn't happen to destroy the world because if they did, well, he wouldn't be in that position that he was in. So he saw the future and that gave him the courage to dream bigger, more and better in the present. And that is the solution. Okay. So do you all copy now? Are you all on the same page with me now? How did he free himself from guilt? Well, first thing he did was he saw the future. And that's the first thing I want you all to make the attempt to do now. See the future. Personally, for myself, I mean, I started at a point in time in life where it didn't look like much could happen. I did all the hard work I could, and I struggled with all the beliefs from my parents, society, and the ones that, in fact, I was adding on top of it, trying to run away from those beliefs. I was adding more beliefs on it. It was a complicating experience for me, even much more deeply. In the middle of all of that, though, one day I began to see my future. Let me give you a quick gist of how I did it, because we can all do it that way today and start with that. I saw my future in two forms. I remember this very well because I remember going on this trips back from the university back to my parents' house, and it would be one of these two features I'd be contemplating on the way. Just be seeing myself in it, be seeing myself in it, and I'd carry myself away from being in the vehicle. I'll just be lifted in the on the wings of my imagination into these experiences. Now, I'm not saying that I literally flew away from the car, no, and I'm not saying like it's a flutter kind of wings. Really, I'm using an so a figure of speech to let you understand that I was so engrossed in the vision that for a moment I would lose the sense of the gripping reality of being in the car and that's in the cab and the taxi taking me from one point to another together with other passengers. I'll forget that for a moment. So, who would like to know these two ways? Because, well, these are really special, and I don't want to share them unless you're ready to know them. So, who's ready to know them? All right, Scott is ready. Do you want me to have a private call with Scott to share this, or are you all ready to? All right, Harmony is ready for sure. I like that. Scott says, "Tell us." I love that. Tell us. Scott will take a private call. Well, let's have it for everyone. Okay. So what happened? What were the two visions of the future I had? Two of them. The first one was me seeing the future at the time of my death. You know, I'm currently reading about billionaires, of course, to actually see their state of mind, how they assume the state of being a billionaire when they had nothing, when they had not even millions to start with. And Jeff Bezos is the guy I'm currently reading about now. Now, I found perhaps I actually learned it from something that might have learned from him, or perhaps I just made this up myself. I don't know. But I think if I were to really think about it, I had read it in a book, in a story, in a book, and I had attempted to practice it. But this is the method. I'd go into the furthest future of my human life that I could possibly accept, such as, oh, when I'm 100 years old. Just fix a time in your mind. It doesn't really matter whether 100 or 120. Yeah, but 100 years old. Then I put myself at after I had lived and I had just died, like just died, 100 years old and just died. Then I wondered what would people say at my obituary. Yeah, I definitely got that in the book. I remember now. What would people say at my obituary? What would I like them to write in my obituary? I mean, they had to be as honest. They could be as honest as possible. They could even say the ugliest things about me. I wouldn't be there to defend it. So what would they be able to say? What would they really joyfully say? Would I want them to joyfully say things? And if yes, what are the things I'd love them to say? All right. So that's what I actually started imagining. That's the first. So I began to create it with, yeah, I would love them to say. that I am a phenomenal teacher, that I am successful a writer, that I am inspiring a king. That was the beginning of my vision. That was the first future that I began to see and hear and believe. A future that is placed at a time that was right after my death. Do you understand? Are you following? It was placed at a time that was right after my death. Of course, there is also a version that didn't have to involve you dying. And that's the version I just recently read from Jeff Bezos. He would ask himself a question. Okay, this particular goal, this particular objective, or this particular decision, if I took it, would I regret it? Say, when I'm 80 years old. And if his answer is, yeah, I would regret it if I took this decision now. He wouldn't take it. If his answer is, oh, if I pursue this thing, whether if I failed, I won't regret it at all. I won't regret ever trying. If I succeed, good for me. But if I don't try it at all, I'll definitely regret that. Then he would go, okay, well, it's pretty obvious or pretty clear. Practice or go for it. So in Jeff Bezos' mind, he was always seeing his future self. And that made all the weight of the present seem inconsequential. Let us face it. After you're dead, okay, no amount of guilt that you could possibly have right now, no amount of blaming yourself or wondering who's at fault or even feeling bad about yourself or life would matter, right? But what would matter? The bottom line, the things that you actually accomplished, the things you didn't do because you were feeling guilty, it wouldn't matter. Nobody could say anything about them. But you see, the things that you did, all right, those ones would matter. Those ones would count. Well, if you go into that particular frame of reference and you start dreaming your life from it, or start seeing the possibility from there, it would make total sense. Number one. Number two, rather, you'd begin to believe it. Number two, going into the future, such as at the time of your death, or such as at the time when you're very old, would make you see how it makes no sense to limit yourself because of what people would say. Another thing that makes people burdened is shame and fear of what people would say right now. What people would say, what people would think of me, what people would say of me. Going into that future would totally rid you of that. You wouldn't be able to think that way anymore because you're in such a future where it doesn't matter what people are saying. None of it matters again. The question that matters is, can you look at yourself and go, I did it. Oh, I wanted that. I did it. Oh, when I look at the total sum of my life, I lived the life that I wanted. That's what would matter, right? So I would, looking at that, I would then go, "Oh, that was actually how I had the courage to say, no, I'm not going to do lecturing. I didn't have the courage to do that, to say that, to say I wouldn't lecture in a university. I felt I had to. Did you know a lot of lecturers actually invested in me in terms of be there in different ways, whether financially or socially or even emotionally. Okay. They were really there for me. And it only would, it would seem like I couldn't take another step because of that. But I went into that future. Okay, would I really have just stayed a university lecturer? Nah, I wouldn't like that. Okay. But what if I took this diversion, step out this way, tried to go into entrepreneurship? If I failed, but I got to that point in time, I'll still be happy. But if I succeeded and I got to that point in time, I'd be terrifically happy. How about I just simply do that? Because if I didn't try it at all, if I didn't do it at all, I'd always wonder what would have happened if I had done it and I'd regret it. So that's the same kind of thing that Clark Kent actually did in the movie, in the series. He went into the future. He saw his future self. And when he saw his future self, he met his future self. They talked. They had to even stop a particular um, disaster together. Okay. And that was when he realized, oh my goodness, I've been such a I've been dull on myself. There's so much to live in life than the limited view I'd been clamping myself in. So that's the first vision. Do you get it? It could be before or after. It could be like your obituary thing. In the obituary thing, the way I did it was as if I had the ability to pick. All right, to pick. Like to just be beside people and they're talking about me and well, they don't know that I'm there listening to them. I'm listening. And these people are saying, what? So what are they saying? What's the thing I want them to say? That's how you know. That's how you see the future self of you. Another is, okay, just old to this age. And then what do I see in that period? Do I like it that I have lived this way, that I have experienced this desire? That's the first version. The second version of the future that I go to is going to 10,000 years from now. Yep. 10,000 years from now. And I simply say to myself, I don't know what it is I'm going to do, but what if I had done something that 10,000 years from now, and this was even long before I knew the Neville, hundreds of years from now, they will still be talking about you. Okay. Or they would still be remarking what you and two other people have done for humanity. So I'm like, I don't know what it is that I'll do, but what if I had done something so exceptional and outstanding that 10,000 years from now, they're still talking about it in a good manner. I mean, then your fears of the moment don't make sense anymore. If you realize that what you carry within you is something that is so important that 10,000 years from now, it still matters to the generations after them. Do you know how many generations are going to have happened over 10,000 years from now? If we take a generation to be, say, 50 years old, that would be 200 generations between now and 10,000 years from now. Well, that's what I began to dream. What if in 10,000 years from now, I could just see a statue of me, or I could see mentions of Adelere, this Adelere Hall. And why are they having all of these things? Monuments of me. Because there's something they attribute to me that changed the world impactfully, positively. And it came from me. And 10,000 years from now is still relevant to them. So I'm again peeking into that world. I'm seeing this world. First, I stop believing it's going to crash one day. Those who believe that the world is going to crash one day are not going to be driven to innovate, to invent themselves or even the world around them. They just couldn't. So at first I stopped, right? I just couldn't even dream of doom for this world again. I mean, if I'm considering 10,000 years from now, I don't think Jesus is coming anytime between now and 10,000 years from now, even though I believed in rapture at the time I began to do this, right? So basically, I stopped, uh, accepting any kind of doom doomsday for the world. And I started in accepting the vision of success, prosperity, and of the special importance of myself. What that did multiple times was make me free myself from all the guilt of any of the little mistakes I thought I had made, many of the errors I thought I had committed, and of any of the um, fails that I thought I'd been responsible or been guilty for. I was free from all of them. Now, I want you all to embody this. Do you all understand how you're to see the future? Yes, thank you, Scott. He's here is us. Jesus, that is. I love that. Thank you. So do you all understand what you're to see of the future now? By the way, there was nothing in my present that indicated that the future I'd like to see that I was seeing could happen. Like that people would say you're inspiring, you're amazing, nothing in my present indicated it. But I still saw it anyway. I mean, even if, and for anything for that matter, I could still see that happen in the future. So I'm encouraging you to do that for about a minute or two for the first one. You could use either the obituary or you could use the just being old and looking back at your life and seeing that you have no regrets. Whichever one of those you want to use, contemplate it for the next 2 minutes. Do it now. All right, perfect. And there it is. So I'll see you all tomorrow. No, rather, that would be Friday. And until Friday, willingly by yourself on your own. We're gonna practice it, but before now and Friday, between now and Friday, do a series of practice of seeing the future, a clear vision of your future, like meeting your future self. But you are in the body of this future self. That's how you're gonna do it. Of the 10,000 years from now and of the just 100 years from now at your obituary or something. Okay. So see you all later. Bye bye.